Hello there, and welcome to this explainer. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. Over the years, I've watched a lot of seasons change, and I've watched the markets shift right along with them. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty remarkable, the stock market's modern digital gateway. Now, I know it can seem a bit intimidating, right? All those flashing screens, the fast-moving numbers, but I promise you, by the time we wrap up here, you're going to see it for what it truly is. It's really just a very accessible field, just waiting for you to plant your seeds. So let's take a look together.
Okay, let's dive into this. The tools have changed, but the principles of building wealth, well, they remain exactly the same. Think about it. Back in the day, you actually had to make a phone call to some fella in a very expensive suit just to buy a piece of a company. And today, you can do the whole shebang from a little piece of glass in your pocket. The technology is brand spanking new, sure, but that old school wisdom, the patience, the careful selection, letting time do the heavy lifting, that still absolutely rules the market. The digital gateway is wide open for everyday folks now.
Section 1. Opening the digital gateway. Entering the modern market. Moving right along to Section 2. Asking the right questions. The ultimate AI compass.
You see, the best way to buy shares today is through an online brokerage account. That's your bridge. It connects everyday folks like you and me, directly to the vast, bustling global stock market. It's no longer this walled garden reserved just for the elite. But, and this is a big but, just because the gate is open doesn't mean you should go rushing in blindly. To navigate this digital gateway, we need a compass. And funnily enough, your best compass today is artificial intelligence, like Gemini. You can literally ask an AI to map out a 5-step checklist to help you understand the terrain before you spend a single dime. And this brilliantly illustrates those 5 essential steps. First up, broker selection. That's comparing discount versus full-service brokers to see what fits your style. Second, an analysis framework. How to actually evaluate a company. Third is strategy, figuring out if you want to be a passive investor or an active one. Fourth, risk management, because a wise investor always protects their capital first. And fifth, execution, the actual nuts and bolts of placing an order. You just ask the AI to act as your guide, and suddenly, the fog clears right up.
Let's look a little closer at that second step, analysis. When you're looking at a company, there are really 2 main ways to study it. Fundamental analysis, well, that's like checking the soil and the roots of a tree. You're looking at things like PE ratios. You're checking to see if their revenue is actually growing. You're making sure they aren't drowning in debt. Basically, you're asking, is this a healthy tree? Technical analysis, on the other hand, is more like reading the weather. You're looking at the shifting winds of price trends, seeing which way the market breeze is blowing right at this moment. Both are incredibly useful, but you really got to know the difference between the roots and the weather.
Section 3. 3 paths to wealth. Choosing your journey. Once you know how to read the landscape, well, you have to choose your road. There are 3 distinct paths you can walk through this digital gateway, and the one you choose depends entirely on what kind of traveler you are. First up, we have the set and forget method. Honestly, this is best for most people. Instead of trying to pick the perfect apple tree, you just buy the whole orchard using an exchange-traded fund, an ETF, or an index fund. That way, if one tree gets a blight, the others still produce a harvest and carry the weight. You can use robo-advisors or low-cost brokers like Vanguard or BlackRock for this. Then, we have the DIY brokerage method. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how it contrasts that orchard approach with this active craftsman route. This is for the folks who want to choose specific stocks. If you take this route, you look at international platforms like Interactive Brokers, eToro, or Robinhood. Or, if you're looking locally, say at the Nairobi Securities Exchange in Kenya, you'd look at platforms like AIB Axis or HISA. But listen to me carefully here. If you take this DIY path, you absolutely must look for zero commission or low fee structures. Otherwise, those little costs will quietly eat away at your hard-earned harvest.
There's a third path too. It's a bit older but still very sturdy. Direct stock purchase plans, or DSPPs. This is where you buy shares directly from the company itself, bypassing the broker entirely. The fees are often quite a bit lower here, and it allows for something truly beautiful called dividend reinvestment, or DRIPs. What that means is, when the company pays you a dividend, it automatically uses that money to buy you more little fractional pieces of the company. The seeds literally replant themselves. Now sure, it's a bit less flexible than a standard broker, but it is a remarkably steady way to grow your wealth over time.
Section 4. Planting your first seeds. The mechanics of buying. Now I know the order screens can look a bit daunting to a beginner. But don't let the machinery frighten you. These mechanics are simply tools of the trade, and they're designed to do 2 things: protect your capital and help it grow. Just think about the number 10. $10. You might be sitting there thinking, well, I can't invest. A single share of some of these big tech companies costs $3,000. But you really don't need a fortune to start. Modern brokers allow what we call fractional shares. That means you can take a small, humble $10 seed and use it to own a piece of a towering $3,000 stock. You just buy a fraction of it. The gateway truly is open to everyone.
When you go to plant that seed, you'll be asked how exactly you want to buy it. The simplest way is a market order. A market order just means you're telling the broker, hey, buy this immediately at whatever the current price is. You are simply accepting whatever price the market is offering in that exact moment. It's quick, and it guarantees you get the shares right then and there.
Let's move to and see how this builds with a limit order. If you want to be a bit more strategic, consider this approach. It's a much more patient strategy. With a limit order, you tell the broker, I want to buy this, but only if the price drops to a specific number that I set. You set your terms, and you wait. If the market doesn't come down to your price, well, you don't buy. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool for the disciplined investor who absolutely refuses to overpay.
And while we're on the subject of discipline, we absolutely must talk about risk. 1%. This represents the 1% rule for risk management. A wise farmer knows a sudden storm can wipe out a crop, right? So they never bet the entire farm on one single season. You should aim to never risk more than 1% of your total capital on a single trade. You enforce this by using stop-loss orders. Think of it as a mechanical safety net that automatically sells your stock if it drops to a certain point, protecting you from a truly catastrophic loss. Remember, protect your capital first, profits come second.
And when that harvest does finally come in, you need to protect it from the tax man. Tax efficiency is absolutely vital. Depending on where you live, you should place your investments into specialized tax-shielded accounts. In the US, for example, that might be an IRA. Doing this legally shields your growing wealth and can literally save you thousands upon thousands in future taxes. It's all about keeping the fruits of your labor where they belong, with you and your family.
Section 5. Final words of wisdom. Patience is the strategy.
So the crucial point is, the digital gateway we've talked about today is incredibly fast. I mean, you can open an account in minutes and buy a stock in seconds. But true wealth building, that remains a slow, patient, and steady journey. You have the compass now. You understand the paths you can take and the tools you need to protect your harvest. The seeds, quite literally, are in your hands, and the gateway is wide open and waiting for you. So the only question left to answer is, what will you plant today? Take your time, choose wisely, and watch it grow. Until next time, take care.